Rafael Fiziev and Mateusz Gamrot just got announced as the main event for September 23rd UFC Fight Night. No, it's not going to be in a cool place like UFC Nashville or in North Carolina or in Virginia or just some random area like that. No, this banger of a lightweight fight is going to be at the UFC Apex. Womp womp. I don't know why the UFC is putting on such good fights and then putting them in the UFC Apex, but number 6, Rafael Fiziev taking on Mateusz Gamrot, who is number 7. It's a very, 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 very fun fight because Mateusz Gamrot is not that bad of a striker, but he is very, very good on the feet as well. Against normal fighters, he is a very, very good striker, but he's not going to have the edge here against a guy like Rafael Fiziev. Almost nobody has the edge in striking over a guy like Rafael Fiziev. As we saw, the only guy to really legitimately outstrike Fiziev was Justin Gaethje, and he just used pure violence. If this fight stays on the feet, and it is 5 rounds, if it does stay on the feet for 5 rounds, there's a possibility Fiziev could hurt Gamrot later on in the fight, because if Beneil Dariush is rocking you, Rafael Fiziev could definitely rock you. It's a banger of a fight. It comes down to, can Gamrot get the takedowns, or can Rafael Fiziev defend those takedowns? Winner probably is going to get a shot right back into the top 5 of the UFC's lightweight division. We're going to check that top 5 because it's got a lot of veterans in it. Not a lot of newcomers like Gamrot and like Fiziev, but that's because both of them just lost to veterans Beneil Dariush, number 4, and veteran Justin Gaethje at number 3. So the winner here would be deserving of a top 5 fight for sure in the UFC's lightweight division, because they would have already beaten number 8 or number 9 and the number 7 guy as well in the lightweight division. But again, they're just going to keep running into those same veterans like Chandler, Dariush, Gaethje, Poirier, Oliveira, and Islam. And I believe Rafael Fiziev wins this fight here. And if Poirier is the one that loses, I think they got to do a Rafael Fiziev versus Dustin Poirier. If Justin Gaethje is the one that loses, I'm going to be a little bit lost there. You might maybe justify an Oliveira versus Rafael Fiziev main event of a UFC Fight Night, or at that point, maybe you give him an up-and-comer like Dan Hooker for an absolutely amazing UFC Fight Night main event. There's a lot of things you can do there, but this is such a good fight in the lightweight division. The early prediction is going to be Rafael Fiziev by a unanimous decision. I do believe he has the good takedown defense here. I know the wrestling, the grappling, and the scrambles of Mateusz Gamrot are so good in this lightweight division, but Rafael is so good at defending those takedowns and is just leaps and bounds above Mateusz Gamrot, in my opinion, for the striking. Maybe Gamrot wins a round, maybe he wins 2, but I don't think he'll be able to win 3 here. I got Rafael Fiziev by a unanimous decision, and that is not the only fight. That is not the only fight announcement. We have 1, 2 banger fights that just got announced inside of the featherweight division, and we got, where was it? Am I on the wrong one? Let's go to the other one right here. We have, or was it here? 3 banger fights also to discuss in the featherweight division. We got number 12, number 13, number 11, number 14, number 9, and number 15. Almost the entire bottom end of the top 15 of the featherweight division just got fights booked in the spans of an hour, so we'll break down those. We also do have coming to you a breakdown of the Taylor Lapilus Muin Gafurov fight, as well as Seung Choi and Jarno Errens. Those are going to be at the end. We'll start it with, I really do like the Giga Chikadze fight for UFC Singapore. Giga Chikadze and Alex Caceras, number 9 and number 15. I was not actually expecting this fight to be made. I originally did think that it was going to be Giga Chikadze versus Sodiq Yussuf. They were originally booked. I was like, why don't we do that again? Sodiq is already coming off some good wins. Giga's coming off a loss to number 7. Why don't we just do that banger for a co-main event of any random UFC fight night? But they decided to give Giga a really big step down to number 15 and make it a really exciting fight. I mean, UFC Singapore is looking amazing with the addition of this as well on the main card of that UFC fight night, with the Korean zombie Max Holloway, with Chidi and Jokowani on the card as well. You got I'm totally blanking at the moment. UFC Holloway Tapology. We're going to check it out really quick because I was looking at it earlier today and this card was looking amazing. I mean, even the prospects on the card. Yeah, Chidi versus Mikhail Oleszejczyk, Ryan Spann, Anthony Smith, which was a main event at one point. We got Aaron Blanchfield, Tyler Santos, which is a number 1 contender fight in that flyweight division. Now we have Caceres Giga opening up that main card for an absolutely stacked main card. The prospects of the card: Waldo Cortez Acosta, undefeated Japanese, Rinya Nakamura. We got Billy Goff, who I'm very high on. We got the GOAT in Parker Porter here, Rolando Bedoya, who's an absolute beast. Talk about these ones later, but Seung Choi as well. This is such a good card. That main card is making my mouth water. But we're going to give our early prediction for this one that got announced literally 2 hours ago. Alex Caceres, Giga Chikadze. I think Alex Caceres, his volume and his kind of unpopular or unorthodox style of fighting is very hard to deal with for most in the featherweight division. Giga was such a good kickboxer before he joined the UFC and still is. Usually when he loses his fights, like we saw in the Calvin Kattar one, there was a lot of wrestling, there was a lot of grappling mixed in there, and Alex Caceres does have good jiu-jitsu. He doesn't really have the best wrestling in my opinion, so I think this one stays on the feet. And I don't think there's a finish. Caceres is very tough to finish on the feet. So I think Giga Chikadze goes out there, lands the better shots for 3 rounds. Maybe 1 round, Caceres has a moment where he gets the back of Giga Chikadze, gets close to a finish, and maybe wins one of those rounds. But I got this being a potential fight of the night in the featherweight division. I am going to go with Giga Chikadze by a 29-28 decision. I want to check Tapology. There are no predictions just yet. What do y'all think about this fight? It is a banger, in my opinion. Next one is also a banger in, where is it? The UFC's, again, featherweight division. Sodiq Yussuf and Edson Barboza just got set for October 16th, UFC Fight Night. I'm guessing the co-main event, most likely with number 11 and number 14, and an absolute banger in the featherweight division. Like I was saying earlier, I thought Sodiq Yussuf was going to fight Giga Chikadze because they were originally booked last year, and I thought that was the perfect matchup to make. But this is really good too. I don't think Sodiq deserves to go down in the featherweight rankings, but I guess he could if they're going to make such a banger like this against Edson Barboza. October 16th, the UFC Fight Night just got themselves a very good one. It's not really a developed card at all. It is October 14th. I did write the wrong date on that one, but it is not that developed of a card right now. It just has 2 women's prelim fights on it, which aren't very good. But now Edson Barboza, so the Yussuf is on it. Number 12 and number 11 and number 14. Edson is 37 years old, taller and lengthier, losing to legit guys like, well, Giga Chikadze, who we talked about, and Bryce Mitchell, beating Shane Burgos with a knockout, Makwan Amirkhani, and Billy Cortillo, which was a really good win. Sodiq beating Andre Fili, Gabriel Benitez, Alex Caceres, which was a really good win, and only losing to Arnold Allen, but Guys, come on. Come on, guys. Arnold is at number 4 in the UFC's featherweight division. I do believe the winner here is for sure, without a doubt, getting somebody inside of that top 10, whether it's Josh Emmett or Calvin Kattar. Those would be my main guesses after that fight just got announced. I say winner versus Calvin Kattar or Josh Emmett. UFC Fight Night main event, 5 rounds. Would be amazing, but this is 3 rounds, and it's just going to be pure striking. There's not going to be any real wrestling mixed in, no grappling mixed in, unless Sodiq wants to mix those in right at the end of the round, which a lot of fighters like to use, including myself. I like to strike for about 4 minutes, 10 seconds, and then work for a takedown in the last 50, land a few ground and pound shots, look for a submission right at the end, and win the round. I think Sodiq, Yussuf, that's going to be the edge here. That is going to be the edge. Because striking-wise, Edson is very, very legit. But he's not really throwing as much volume as he used to when he was back in the lightweight division. And Sodiq, I do believe, is going to be landing slightly more volume than Edson Barboza in this fight. I think Edson might have those big moments where he lands some big shots on Sodiq, but Sodiq is also going to have those moments as well in this featherweight matchup. And I think that's going to have it very, very even at the end of every single round. And the one deciding thing that I think is going to sway the judges ever so slightly is going to be the takedown of Sodiq Yussuf. He's not like a guy that goes out there and just goes for takedown after takedown after takedown in the UFC's featherweight division, but he does have a good wrestling game, in my opinion, and a slightly better one than Edson Barboza. He was able to submit Don Shyness in round number 1 very, very easily after Don went in for a takedown. And even before that, Alex Caceras was able to land a takedown on him, get some good control time, some ground and pound, clinch strikes, and things like that. Doesn't necessarily go for takedowns very, very often, but he's got very good takedown defense, and I think that'd be a good path to victory for him, keeping it really even on the feet, landing some big shots, getting hit with some shots, and then mixing in a takedown when Edson is coming in with his explosive power combinations. It's going to be really close. Again, those moments from Edson are going to be key. If he lands one that wobbles and stumbles Sodiq, he could easily win those fights. It's going to be a game of inches, some slight shots that land here and there, some shots that barely miss are going to decide this fight. It's going to be really close, but it is also going to be very, and I do say, very, very good in the featherweight division. Sodiq Yussuf, 29-28. Decision. Bryce Mitchell and Dan Ige. Oh my gosh, I called it. I did call this one indeed. It was a few days ago, actually, for fights to make next at 145. No, it was yesterday. It was yesterday. We were talking about, we already had Holloway versus TKZ. I wanted Arnold Allen, Yair Rodriguez, Movzar, Brian Ortega. I got this one wrong with Giga, Chikadze, Sodiq Yussuf. I did also get this one wrong with Lerone Murphy and Edson Barboza. Again, I got that one wrong, but we called this one. I did say UFC 295 added to the main card, but no, it's going to be a little bit earlier than that, as it just got announced for, let's see, September 23rd, and it's going to be very, very fun. If we look at the rankings right here, for featherweight, this is number 12 and number 13. Dan Ige coming off some really, really solid wins over Nate Landwehr as well as Damon Jackson, whereas Bryce is coming off a loss to my man Ilia Topuria. Winner is going to get back inside of that top 10, maybe get on a Calvin Kattar, Josh Emmett type of guy, or maybe they keep fighting guys lower on in the rankings. But either way, it's a very close fight. It's not one I'm going to be 100% sold on one fighter beating the other, because I do believe Dan is the better striker here. But we saw what happened when he fought Movzar Evloev. He got taken down and absolutely controlled and dominated with wrestling and grappling. Bryce is also a really, really good wrestler and grappler, and he mainly lost the Ilia Topuria fight due to getting outstruck on the feet. Obviously, the ending had him getting submitted, but the main way he lost was due to the striking of Ilia Topuria, and Ilia is a guy that's able to defend the takedowns of Bryce Mitchell. I don't know if that's going to be the same here for Dan Ige. Still think it's going to be a close one. I think Bryce will have some success with those takedowns, keep it even on the feet, land some kicks at range, jabbing a one to him, lead Dan Ige in, and mix in those shots. I don't think it's going to be a domination by any means. I think one judge will have it Dan Ige, one judge will have it Bryce Mitchell, and the last judge will have it 29-28 split decision for Bryce Mitchell. Should be a good one in the featherweight division. The next one we do have is going to be not as noteworthy as the ones we were just talking about, but still good nonetheless. Taylor Lapilus, Muin, Gafurov. For UFC Paris, obviously the Paris homeboy is going to be Taylor Lapilus. He's from that side of the world. He's been trying to get on all of these Paris cards. I believe his last one was canceled with Khalid Taha for the last UFC Paris, but now he's finally set to make his second debut in the UFC against Muin Gafurov, number 74 and number 67. In the UFC's bantamweight division, and my early prediction here is, of course, going to be Taylor Lapilus. He's got solid takedown defense. Muin isn't necessarily an absolutely amazing wrestler and grappler, so I do believe Taylor will be able to defend and will be able to outstrike Muin Gafurov on the feet, but Muin is a tough cookie. I don't remember the last time he got finished. I don't even think the Chad and Helliger one. I don't think he got finished in that one as well. I'm just going to check really quick to make sure. Decision loss, decision loss, decision loss, decision loss, and yet another decision loss. So you know what I'm about to say. I got this one going all the way. I'd be surprised if a man that's never been finished gets finished by a guy that really doesn't get all too many finishes. I think Taylor Lapilus uses his better striking, his height, his reach, stays on the outside. 30-27 for Taylor Lapilus. And then the last one we got for today is going to be Seung Choi and Jarno Errens. Set for UFC Singapore. I mean, it's fairly obvious that that'd be the card for Seung Choi, because I believe Jarno's like Dutch or from the Netherlands or somewhere in that region. I think he's like the only guy from his region in the world. So obviously they're not going to make a fight night out of Jarno Errens, but there's plenty of Japanese, Korean, South Korean, Chinese fighters in the UFC. And they're going to put him on UFC Singapore for later this year, which, as we were talking about earlier, is looking like a very, very fun card indeed. Seung Choi is coming off a few losses inside of the UFC's featherweight division to legit guys. One of them top 15, Alex Caceras, where he came in as like a 2-1, 3-1 favorite. And was rising the ranks, beating a lot of guys outside of the top 15. I still believe if he can work on that takedown defense, also Josh Coulibaly was another one, work on the takedown defense, work on his striking defense as well. He's got a good shot to make another run right inside of the top 15 of the featherweight division. Jarno Errens is legit, had a very close fight with William Gomes last UFC Paris, but I think this is too tough a test. I mean, he's taken a step up, in my opinion. I think Seung Choi is a harder guy to fight than William Gomes in the featherweight division. I do lean for Seung Choi to get the win in what will be a very, very fun striking match. And I'm going to go Seung Choi to catch Jarno Errens coming in with a TKO in round number 2. Should be a fun one at featherweight. That is it for all of the fights. We had some good featherweight matchups made. Giga versus Alex Caceras. I got Giga by decision. We had the lightweight matchup with Gamrot and Rafael Fiziev. I had Fiziev by decision. I got Bryce Mitchell by a decision against Dan Ige. And I do have Sodiq Yussuf by a decision on Edson Barboza. And then for the lower named fights, I do have Seung Choi getting the TKO in round number 2, and Taylor Lapilus by a unanimous decision. Some fun fights have been made in the past few days. Make sure to put your predictions down below, like and subscribe. You know the deal. We'll see you in the next one.